That's where I work, Jane. That's where I work. So I'm familiar with aged care, nursing homes, and alike.
Okay, so but I've prepared questions for you.
Sure,
So
sure.
shall we start now?
Anytime you're ready.
Okay, so hi Kevin, welcome. So today we will be talking about the topic that you chose, which is about nursing homes and
Sure.
about retirement. So first
That's right.
of all, I want to know how old you are. If- how old you
Uh,
are?
somewhere between 60 and 62.
Okay, why I am asking you about your age? Why I ask you about your age? Because this is our topic is about retirement. So are you already retired or do you still work?
No, I'm still working for the moment. In Australia, there is no retirement age force,
Mm.
but to receive a pension, we need to be 67.
Oh,
So for the moment, I'm still working.
oh, I see. So since the topic is about nursing homes and retirement, what comes into mind when you hear the word retirement and nursing homes?
What comes into mind is where I work because I deal with nursing homes. I deal with retirement every day.
Mm-hmm,
I work in the environment. I speak to people that
mm-hmm,
have entered retirement, have been in retirement for a long time,
mm-hmm,
and sometimes they will progress from private residential house
mm-hmm,
in an aged care village.
mm-hmm,
Then they will progress into a nursing home.
mm-hmm.
Now, that can be a quick progression or a long progression, depending on their mental ability, their physical ability.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
that's how I've got this view.
okay, so that's how you think about retirement, what retirement is.
Well, when you talk about retirement, by living in an aged care village,
Mm-hmm,
you have the flexibility to do everything you like.
mm-hmm,
Most people will still have a car.
mm-hmm,
They can cruise, they can drive, come and go. But
mm-hmm,
as they get older, they lose some of that ability.
mm-hmm,
And then they might choose to move into the nursing home
mm-hmm,
and still have the flexibility to come and go where they like
mm-hmm.
until they're physically not able to do that anymore. Then they have the care. There is a
Okay.
care facility
Mm-hmm.
which can filter through to those who suffer with dementia, which is a very cruel physical ability.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what comes from aged care. This is what comes from retirement.
Mm-hmm. Since you mentioned that you are not yet retired, so are you looking forward to retirement or you don't want to retire?
Depends on the terminology of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Retirement from the workforce
Mm-hmm.
is one thing. Retirement from lifestyle, that's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
But most people would say retirement from the active workforce.
Mm-hmm.
It's a situation where when you work, you and I know, we know
Mm-hmm.
that you're committed
Mm-hmm.
to going to work every day. You're
Mm-hmm.
committed to times that you will
Mm-hmm.
be at work in an
I see.
office, on a building site, in a hospital, whatever. But when you
Mm-hmm.
retire,
Mm-hmm.
time becomes your own. A Saturday can be like a Wednesday. A
Okay.
Sunday can be like a Tuesday. So you do lose the relevance of weekdays. You lose the relevance of weekend,
Mm-hmm.
but you still have the flexibility to do what you want when you want, if the money will allow, of course.
I see. So you mentioned that you are not yet 65 years old, and in Australia, you have to be 65 years old before you can retire. So
67.
67. Oh,
Correct.
67. So,
Yeah.
what do you think is the best age to retire? Is there a certain like for you, what's the best age to retire?
All right. To explain that one clearly, legally, you have to be anywhere between 65,
Mhm.
67. 67 is when we can receive a pension.
Mhm.
67 or 65,
Mhm.
we can receive a superannuation.
Mhm.
To be honest, I could retire tomorrow.
Mhm.
The problem with that is you would then live on your own funds
Oh.
until 65 or 67.
Mhm.
Because as I mentioned, at 65, especially 67, that's when you can get a pension.
Mhm.
So you would have to make your money in your bank last for probably 5 to 7 years.
Mhm.
Most people that could be unemployed, to use a word, can only self-support probably for 1 month.
Mhm.
But if you got a good financial backing and if you have no mortgage for a house, you
Mhm.
can live longer.
I see.
All
Yeah.
depends on finance.
I see. So I heard that some people they retire early and some they just wait for the 67 years old before they can retire. So um what do you think about these two types of retirement, early retirement and when to wait until you get 67 years old? So what are the advantages and disadvantages of these two?
All right. On the sixth, if, for let's say for the moment I was to retire now,
Mm,
physically I could come and go,
mhm,
um, not committed to wake up at 5:30 a.m.
mhm,
I could wake up at say 8 a.m. every day.
mhm,
If you got the finances behind you and no mortgage, then your life becomes your own to control.
mhm,
But if you're committed to, let's say, a mortgage or a rent, depends on the finances, depends where you live, then you need to be able to collect the pension.
mhm,
You would not have enough money to sustain you from my age now,
mhm,
nearly 61, to
mhm.
67. I've
Oh,
got savings, but not enough to do that.
I see.
If you were put off of work, for example, now I could receive the unemployment pension, but you need to actively look for work. So that would be no point to do that. So for myself, I will stay at work until either a lottery situation,
Mhm,
which is a dream,
mhm,
or until I can receive the pension. In my own personal case, that's
mhm.
67.
I see.
At the same time as when my superannuation will mature.
Wow, I see. So you cannot just stop working like in the Philippines. Some people here they don't um work until 65 or 67 years old. Some they just don't work and they go do farming. Then they can just live. So it's different there in Australia, right? You have to have money.
Yeah, you do. And the thing is, I mean, we can, let's say I stop working tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
hypothetically, I
Okay.
could do, which is called cash in hand work.
Mm-hmm.
I have a trade background.
Mm-hmm.
I would be able to earn money in that trade for as long
Okay.
as I like. Of course, you pay tax.
Mm-hmm.
I could go fruit picking or any one
Oh.
of those kind of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But you do need to move around the country
Mm-hmm.
or around the state to find that work. But you can find it. But what does it mean? It means you still need to work
Mm-hmm.
one way
Oh.
or the other. You need to work to get money to survive.
Mm-hmm.
If you become unemployed at 64,
Mm-hmm.
you're still required to actively show that you're looking for work to receive the unemployment pension.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the unemployment. income.
Wow, that
But
is
yeah,
tough.
it's hard
Yes.
because our cost of living is more. It is expensive here,
Mm. Okay, assuming that you've already retired. Okay,
right?
so would you prefer living with your family or in a retiring home, like say the nursing home, because it is also part of our topic?
Okay, yeah. With the nursing home, the answer to that would be no. I like to live in our own home.
Okay.
In this country, what some people will do is reduce the size of their home.
Mm-hmm.
Means to say, you might sell the current home you're in and
Mm-hmm.
buy a smaller one. So therefore, it's more easy to maintain, more easy to clean.
Mm-hmm.
But as you do get older, my parents experience this now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'll give you an example. My dad retired at 65, he's now 86.
Okay.
So they do get a person that comes in, helps them do the house cleaning once a week, once a fortnight.
Mm-hmm.
But whilst you can still physically do that, it's nice to stay in your own place. It's nice to cook your own meals.
Yes,
We can
true.
have them brought too, by the way. We have
Mm-hmm.
Meals on Wheels,
Mm-hmm.
and you pay for that at a subsidized rate. When you live in a nursing home,
Mm-hmm.
as I said, you can still come and go. You have
Mm-hmm.
freedom. It's not a prison.
Mm-hmm.
There are meals provided in the nursing home,
Mm-hmm.
but they still have to be paid for. So that would come out of your either your asset
Mm-hmm.
or your pension. So the food's still going to be paid for. Your accommodation's still going to be paid for.
Mm-hmm.
So it does cost money to move into a nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
If you have no house to sell, then the government will, from what I believe, the government will give you options of where you like to stay. You can select one. But if
I
you've
see.
got a home to sell, then you are expected to or required to buy into a nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
You can stay with the family. That's not always easy. A bit different to
Okay.
Philippines.
Compared here, yeah, here it's part of our tradition.
Correct.
Okay.
As you know, I understand the tradition from living there. In
Yeah.
here, most people would not go to their family.
Mm-hmm.
The older culture perhaps would, but
Mm-hmm.
the younger culture, they tend to say to the parents, we can help you get the care you need if you want to stay in the house.
Mm-hmm.
We can help you organize meals,
Mm-hmm.
Meals on Wheels, if you want to stay in the house. We can help you with cleaning once or twice a week in your house.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, there might come a stage when you can't do that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when you may wish to go into a nursing home.
Oh, wow.
So
Sad.
look at your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
Did you sell a house 10 years earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. How much have you got left? You can buy your room. Of course, you get a better choice.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have a house to sell, the government will help find a nursing home and you can choose maybe two or three
Mm-hmm.
what you like and move in there.
Okay.
Then when it comes to your meals in the nursing home, they will work out how much is your pension and or how much do you have in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
So a portion of that will be taken every 2 weeks to cover meals
Mm-hmm.
in the nursing home. And a little bit when you purchase the room or when you get the room will cover cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it works in Australia.
Mm-hmm. I see. There is a saying that a retired husband is often a wife's full-time job. So what do you think about that saying?
Can you repeat the question, please,
A
Jamie?
retired husband is often a wife's full-time job. What do you think about that? You have a wife.
Yeah.
So what do you think
or
about that?
a wife's full-time employee.
Yes. Okay. What do you think about that saying?
I think to have a good relationship, and I've got a good relationship, it's you help each other.
Yes.
You
Right.
know, there's always going to be things that your partner can do better than you. There
Mm-hmm.
are things that you can do better than her.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the two of them together. That's what you call a family.
Mm-hmm.
I've personally, as you will be aware, been through this issue
Mm-hmm.
for the last 7 or 8 months. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't in a nursing home because of a major injury, but my wife was also my carer.
Mm-hmm.
Legally, no. Morally, yes. And it's the same in a nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
Your partner might live in there with you. He or she might not live in there, and they might spend time.
Oh, that's
But
sad.
yeah, and let's say my partner, my wife was in the nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she would have things that she would like in the shops.
Mm-hmm.
So you will be the one because you're physically able to go to the shops, pick up the shopping, bring it back, provide it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's helping each other in the nursing home and or outside the nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
So if, for example, your wife is home, my wife is home, I retired,
Mm-hmm.
she can't drive, I can drive.
Mm-hmm.
I will be the one to either go to the shops or we will go together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a case of being an employee for your wife or husband.
Mm-hmm.
It's a case of helping each other.
Yes. It should be like that. Like you help each other because you are committed to each other and you love each other, and love is a choice.
That's it.
Love isn't a feeling, it's a choice. Because if you base the love on feelings, then feelings will be gone soon, then love will be gone soon too. So you are
That's
committed
right.
to your wife, to your husband, and you chose it, then you have to live with that person for.
That's correct. You choose to enter into a relationship.
Yeah.
You choose to enter into a marriage. And if all goes well, it will usually be, as the rights say, till
Mhm.
death do us part. But
Yeah.
in that time, you can either work together
Mhm.
if you're both physically able to in
Mhm.
a nursing home or in your own home, or if one's health deteriorates,
Mhm.
or if one is sickly, the
Mhm.
other one will step up.
Mhm.
They need to step up to help each other, sometimes more than others. So you're not an employee of your wife, you're not an employee of your husband, but you
You're
are a
right.
carer.
Mhm.
You're a carer. Why do we care? Because we love each other.
Yes, you're right.
That's
Mm. Yeah. So I can really compare the difference between my culture and the other cultures, your culture and the rest in the West, about taking care of the elder people. Because here we really take care of our elder people, not only because it's part of our tradition and culture.
to use the expression, return the favor, return the responsibility.
Hmm.
So that is a base culture
Hmm.
within the Western and the Eastern.
Hmm.
But there is a breakdown point in the Western culture. And the Western culture, it says that, okay, I've done all I can do for you, mum or dad or both.
Hmm.
I can still do that,
Hmm.
but I also need help. Why? Because you're also, like them, bringing up little children or bringing up your own children and also trying to help your parents
Yeah.
and or grandparents. Um, so if you need to be able to, as we said before,
Mm.
pay your bills, cover your expenses, quite often you might have to work too.
Hmm.
So your parents might be 20 or 30 years older.
Hmm.
You're say 55.
Hmm.
You're not yet finished paying for your mortgage.
Hmm.
You're not yet finished paying your expenses. You don't have a pension coming yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to work. So the only way that you can work is to make provisions for your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes not by choice, sometimes because you need to.
Mm.
These are the reasons why the Western culture, it's not always good. These are the reasons why the Western culture will look for aged care facilities and
Mm-hmm.
or nursing home, to use a different expression. Sometimes people your age, my age, somewhere in the middle, don't have the ability to take care of the older ones.
Mm-hmm.
There is dementia that comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
There is physical issues that come into play.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody has a lifter in the house
Mm-hmm.
to lift a person, the parents, into the bath,
Mm-hmm.
to lift them into a shower,
Mm-hmm.
nursing home too. So sometimes we would suggest that a parent and or parents go into a nursing home
Mm.
because we can't give them the care that we would like to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that we don't want to, that we can't give them the care. The
Mm-hmm.
parent might be a heavy person to lift a parent that is twice our size. They
Oh, I
still need
see.
a
I understand.
they,
I
they still
understand.
need toileting. They still need help showering.
Mm.
But there are mechanical aids that can do that. But of course, in the house, you won't have that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, let's say yourself, with no
Mm-hmm.
disrespect, you might have a baby that's maybe 6 months old, two
Okay.
years old. But you might also have your mum living in a house
Mm-hmm.
that could be, say, early 80s,
Mm-hmm.
late 70s, that has also medical needs.
Mm-hmm.
But you're only one person, your husband's working. This is hypothetical.
Yeah, I understand.
You can't do it all on your own.
Yeah.
Now, come into the world in the Philippines. If you're living on your own house, but you have a brother
Mm-hmm.
and you have a sister,
Yes.
that's where the greater family comes in.
Yeah.
But they don't always like that here because they also have got financial responsibilities. They will
I
come when they
understand.
can. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things. It's not always that let's use the word child. It's not always the children that will suggest a parent to go to a nursing home because they don't want to have them around. That's not
I see.
always the truth. It's physical restraints,
I see.
sometimes financial restraints.
Friends that are elderly is just we see them as very weak and can't do anything when they are already old, and there are no nursing homes here, so we have to take care of them. Yeah, we have to. And all the relatives. Yeah. So I have another question. So
Sure.
you already answered why people send their elderly or their parents to the nursing homes. So do you think that sending those elderly people to nursing homes would be like a kind of abandonment, or?
There's two ways of looking at that, and it's a good question.
Mhm.
It's an abandonment if you use the word send. I
Mhm.
don't use the word send.
Mhm.
Suggest,
Okay.
suggest or recommend with
Mhm.
pure of heart, not send, because send sounds cruel.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you don't want to look after me. No, that's not the case.
Mhm.
As I said, it comes back to suggesting or recommend.
Mhm.
You use the word empathy is a big thing here.
Mhm.
Remember, your parents, and they've done everything through their life for you.
Yes,
You still do that for them,
I see.
but in a different form.
Mhm.
So the one-on-one caring part, the actual physical one-on-one caring, might come from a third person,
Mhm.
a carer, qualified carer or nurse. But you will still have a lot of impact in that.
Mhm.
It is true to say that there are people that will use the word put
Mhm.
their parent in there.
Mhm.
Sadly, it does happen.
Mhm.
Not everyone. Some people hate to recommend that their parents should
Mhm.
go into a nursing home or a care facility.
Mhm.
They hate it, but there's not much they can do. Let's say, I will give you an example. My thinking here, excuse
Mhm.
me, a lot of it's based on example because I work in the industry. All right. So let's say hypothetically, you've got a young family, your husband's at work,
Mhm.
you're looking after two small children, they're not yet small age. You're
Mhm.
looking after a mother or a father or both.
Mhm.
One of them has got dementia. You're not getting a lot of help from a sister or
Mhm.
a brother for whatever reason. They might have their own commitments too.
Mhm.
And yet their parent also should be a commitment. But for whatever reason, you are the one that is left with the responsibility. Now, when you have dementia, they wander. So you might wake up in the morning and, oh, where's mum? Where's
Mhm.
dad? There's a knock at the door, it's the police.
Mhm.
We found Mr. or Mrs. such and such down at the
Mhm.
mall. Oh my God, you've got to get the children,
Mhm.
organize that, run down the mall, get your mum, get your dad, bring them back. Remember, they're not little,
Mhm.
they're cool, they're big.
Yes.
So you can't pick them up, put them under your arm, take them home.
Mhm.
There
I
are
understand.
many reasons why we go. There are many reasons why we recommend. There are many reasons why we suggest
Mhm.
that they go to a nursing home.
I see. I understand.
Not cruelty. Sometimes, yeah, but not always.
So thank you about that. Thank you for everything. Thank you for answering all my questions. Thank you for your time, and it was nice having you here. That was